27 goals and 17 assists in 31 league games has helped power the club to the cusp of their 20th title. 243 goals, 111 assists in 394 games for Liverpool. Magnificent stats. Premier League, FA Cup, 2 League Cups, Champions League, Super Cup, Club World Cup. I mean, it's just brilliant news for Liverpool, but is it bad news for the rest of the Premier League? One man, I'm sure he'll have an opinion on that, is the former United keeper, one of the best ever, 1999 treble winner, Peter Schmeichel. Peter, a very good morning. How are you this morning, my friend?
Morning, Pete.
Good morning. Nice to see you guys. Well, obviously, it's 2 days ago.
Great to see you, mate. Now listen.
We had lunch in Paris. You've been the busiest man ever. You were in Glasgow yesterday,
Peter, I was going to ask you, mate. Pete, yeah, I was at Ibrox, Pete. I'm putting Salah to one side at this moment in time. Yeah. I need to ask you the burning question. What did you think of those prawns at lunch in Paris on Wednesday?
Oh my God, how good were they, by the way? I mean, that was honestly
amazing, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah, honestly.
Pete, you must have been a bit nervous having lunch with Ali.
That
was a brilliant lunch, mate.
It was funny. I mean, it was what it was, and what that lunch turned out to be was prep for your interview with Prince William. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. I've saw a few clips that you put on social media.
Send you.
Yeah, it turned out really well. I'm happy for my input. You know, I'm glad you used it.
Yes, I think it's only fitting that the punters out there know there was a serious input in the pre-match build-up to the Prince William interview on behalf of Rio and myself that came from Peter. He's putting his views across on how we should approach it and what we should say, and it carried out. The whole thing carried out pretty well, I must admit, Peter. By the way, what a performance from PSG, mate.
Those prawns, by the way, just to go back to them, for that reason only, I want PSG to go through so we can go back and have them again.
I'm with you, mate.
I consider PSG to be the favourites in this tournament now because and I follow. I mean, I've been on the road for the last 5 years in the Champions League, and because in lockdown, Paris was one of the few places you could actually get to. Yeah. I've been there quite a lot, and I've seen this team with all the superstars, the Galacticos in it, and I've never really thought that they were good enough to win the Champions League. But now it's a proper football team, a proper manager. What a great job that he has done. I can let you in on a little secret. He was top candidate for Man United, but he was Spain manager, wasn't he? And he wouldn't leave. Yeah. He wouldn't leave Spain until after the World Cup in Qatar. So they picked somebody else. This guy, he's done fantastically well, and he is. I mean, he's one of those. You know, it's obviously it's his way or the highway. That's one thing. You know that, but he's also that kind of guy who he's so involved with the players on a a personal level, a human level, and you see that when you're there. I just like this guy, and then I mean the team that he's created. I was interested. The
spirit, you can see it, mate. It's just different. You're absolutely right, mate. Yeah. It's just something. There's something about that club and that team right now that is completely different to the previous 4 or 5 years when they had their Neymars and Mbappes, even Messi's. It's just absolutely different. You talk about top-class managers. I'm going to ask you about a top-class player. What about the Liverpool news, the fans' news this morning that Salah has signed another 2 years?
Get it right. The news that Ali broke.
Yeah, I broke it.
He broke that news this morning in between his interviews with you and Prince William.
I'm on fire at the moment.
Brilliant.
What did you think of the news, Peter?
What a week you've had, Ali. Yeah, both of you used the phrase, it's bad news for the rest of the Premier League. And you, in that, of course, you include Manchester United. It's bad news for Man United. I have to say, we create our own bad news. So it's not really something that we concern ourselves with. But it is. I mean, when he signs, and I agree with Dina there, when he signs his contract, everybody else will be saying, okay, so he's staying. I might be staying as well. You know, you've got top players. Dino mentioned them before, running out of with a year to go. I've been looking at this Liverpool team and thinking, yeah, they are going to win the Premier League, but they're going to be in trouble in the summer because they'll have players leaving. And I thought Salah would leave. I did think so. So I think at the end of the day, he's made quite a good decision for himself, for the football club. And I like it. It shows loyalty and unfortunate. We've had a couple of weeks now where we've seen with Thomas Müller, Kevin De Bruyne, that loyalty, it's something of a rare thing in football these days. But Salah, he's bringing it back on the agenda. Well done.
Still joined by Manchester United treble-winning keeper Peter Schmeichel. Enough about the prawns. It's been a sticky couple of days for current United keeper André Onana. Matic labelled him, what about this, Peter? One of the worst keepers in the club's history. A bit harsh. It might be factually correct. I've got no idea. And that was ahead of last night's game against Lyon. The extra pressure did Onana no good at all. He certainly fumbled for the first goal, and he might have been in trouble for the second goal too. What do you think, Peter? Was it harsh, or is it factually correct? I know. Listen, I know centre forwards have got a union.
What Matt had said.
There's no greater union than you goalkeepers union.
Yeah, was it harsh what Matt had said? I mean, I've actually seen the clip from the press conference, and he gets asked, and it's something that it springs into mind. I didn't prepare that. I think he felt a little bit insulted by a comment from an opponent player that they say we're a better team, and
yeah,
especially for a former Man United player who's done really well for the club, who probably still has an interest in the club and is feeling, how difficult it is at the time, that somebody from that team comes out and say that we are a better team before the games. These days you gotta talk so much to the media, so many obligations, and at some point you might just say stuff that comes out in a different way. I have an example with Onana. We had him. We did the Manchester derby for Viaplay on Sunday. We had him at the desk, and he said, "Yeah, well, it wasn't the best game, but the big one is Thursday." So I pulled him on that. He said, "The big one? What do you mean the big one? The big one, the Europa League, it's the access to the Champions League." So there's kind of this idea about that the Europa League is a way into having a good enough season if we can qualify for the Champions League. But I think he misspoke, and I think sometimes players just are under so much pressure in an interview, and they say something that they probably didn't mean or shouldn't have said. And yes, it backfired for him because, the first goal, it's a difficult one. I'm not going goalkeepers union here. It's a difficult one because some people are running across you, but I still think he should have dealt with it. The second one, again, I felt that he should have kept it. It's a hard shot, but it's straight at him. But I mean, is he the problem? Is the defensive problem? Is the midfield? I think there are so many issues that Ruben Amorim needs to sort out. I would be very uncomfortable with just pointing to one player, but it's not great to watch. I have to say that it's not great. You never feel safe. You never feel that even going 2-1 up, that this is it. Go for the third one. You always fear that the other team's going to come back in the game. And they did, but a 2-2 away from home is not bad. At Old Trafford in the Europa League, United done quite well. So, I'm still hopeful.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.